Nyquist foaled March 10, 2013 is a retired American thoroughbred racehorse, winner of the 2016 Kentucky Derby. He also won the 2015 Breeders' Cup Juvenile, becoming only the second horse to complete the Juvenile Derby double. He became the 8th undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby, and the first since Big Brown in 2008. He received the 2015 Eclipse Award for Champion 2-year-old. He is the second Kentucky Derby winner after Morvich to win the race while undefeated after winning Champion 2-year-old the year before, and then never winning again. Background: Nyquist is a bay colt with no discernible white markings. He is owned and trained by the same team who won the 2012 Kentucky Derby with I'll Have Another, J. Paul Red Dam and Doug O'Neill. As Red Dam is a fan of ice hockey, he named the colt after Gustav Nyquist, who plays for the Detroit Red Wings. On the morning of the Kentucky Derby, the NHL brought the Stanley Cup to Churchill Downs, where Nyquist the horse posed with it. Nyquist was bred in Kentucky by Summerhill Farm, which purchased his dam, Seeking Gabrielle, in 2011 for $45,000. In 2012, Seeking Gabrielle was bred to Uncle Lemon, then a first-year sire standing for $35,000. Seeking Gabrielle was offered for sale at the 2012 Keeneland sales with Nyquist in utero, but failed to meet her reserve. Nyquist was foaled on March 10, 2013, at Coolmore's Ashford Stud in Versailles, Kentucky. His breeder, Tim Hyde Jr., summarized his prime attributes: really good walker, really good attitude. He has a lot of presence. Nyquist went through the sales ring 3 times, first as a wheeling at Keeneland in November, selling for $180,000. Next he sold as a yearling at the Keeneland September auction for $230,000. At 2, he sold at the Fasig-Tipton March sale for $400,000 to Dennis O'Neill on behalf of his brother, trainer Doug O'Neill. Days after he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Darley America purchased his breeding rights. 2015 2-year-old season. Nyquist, ridden by Mario Gutierrez, began his racing career on June 15, 2015, in a 5-furlong maiden special weight at Santa Anita Park. He went straight to the lead, was passed in the stretch by Annie's Candy, but fought back and won by a head. He next ran on August 8 in the Grade 2 Best Pal Stakes at Del March. He went off as the even money favorite in a field of 6. He stalled just off the pace, then swung wide on the turn to take the lead. He drew away to win by 5/12 lengths, with Swipe in second and Annie's Candy a half length back in third. After the race, trainer Doug O'Neill said, "If he stays injury-free, he's got the mind of a champ." Nyquist's third start was on September 7 in the Great Idelmar Futurity at 7 furlongs. He was the odds-on favorite at 12 in a field of 6 that included Old Foes Annie's Candy and Swipe. He tracked in third behind Annie's Candy, who set a quick pace of 44.54 seconds for the first half-mile. As they headed into the stretch, Nyquist moved past Annie's Candy and though geared down in the stretch won by 3/34 lengths over Swipe. Next was the Great I Frontrunner Stakes on September 26 at Santa Anita. At 116 mile, this was Nyquist's first race around 2 turns. He faced 8 rivals and was made the 12th favorite. Nyquist fought for the early lead and entered the first turn 3 wide. Gutierrez then settled him just off the pace through a moderate half-mile in 47.01 seconds. Nyquist went to the lead at the top of the stretch and then held off a stretch drive by Swipe to win. There was a steward's inquiry regarding possible interference down the stretch, but the results stood. The margin of victory was only 3/4 of a length, which, combined with a relatively slow time, led to questions about his stamina. Nyquist then was flown to Lexington, Kentucky, for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on October 31. In a field of 14, he went off as third favorite at 4.701. Nyquist was bumped hard at the start and was forced to race from behind. He was 4 wide around the first turn in backstretch, then swung 6 wide in the final turn. He went to the lead at the top of the stretch and held off the rapidly closing Swipe by half a length, with Brody's Cause and Exaggerator just back in a blanket finish. At the Eclipse Awards for 2015, Nyquist was named American Champion 2-year-old male horse, taking 255 of the 261 votes. 2016 3-year-old season. Nyquist began his 3-year-old season on February 15 in the San Vicente Stakes at 7 furlongs. Because of the shorter distance, the San Vicente is not part of the official road to the Kentucky Derby, so is no longer commonly entered by Derby contenders. However, using a sprint to begin Nyquist's preparation was a throwback to the training methods of decades past. Going off as 25 favorite, Nyquist dueled for the lead with Sheeps in a fast opening half-mile of 44.49, then pulled away coming around the far turn. Exaggerator challenged him down the stretch, at one point closing to within half a length, before Nyquist again pulled away, eventually winning by 112 lengths. The winning time of 120.71 was the third fastest in the history of the race. Keith Desormeaux, trainer of Exaggerator, said, "Anybody not a believer in Nyquist now? That was an awesome race. To set those kinds of fractions and still finish in close to track record time for a 3-year-old in February? Wow. Hats off to Nyquist." A Fasig-Tipton 1 million bonus was available if he won the Florida Derby, as he went through the Fasig-Tipton Ring at 2. For that reason, rather than running in the Santa Anita Derby on his home track to earn Kentucky Derby points, the Colt ran in the Florida Derby at Gulfstream Park. Nyquist challenged previously undefeated Mo Heyman. For his first race at 1 1/8 miles, Nyquist went off as the 65-second choice in a field of 10. He went straight to the lead and set moderate opening fractions, racing wide at a track rated as good. Mo Heyman challenged on the far turn but was carried even wider to get around Nyquist. Nyquist drew away, winning by 3/14 lengths. Majesto closed on the rail for second, while Mo Heyman dropped back to fourth. Triple Crown Series. For the Kentucky Derby on May 7, Nyquist drew post position 13 in a full field of 20. Going off as the 21 favorite, Nyquist broke well and sprinted to the lead to establish position close to the rail. Gutierrez then eased back on the Colt while Dancing Candy rushed up on the outside to set a very fast pace. Gunrunner tracked in third and then moved to the lead when Dancing Candy started to tire around the far turn. Nyquist responded and drew away from the field at the head of the stretch, then withstood a sustained drive by Exaggerator to win by 114 lengths. Gunrunner finished third with Mo Heyman in fourth. At the 2016 Preakness Stakes, on a wet track, Nyquist became the victim of a blistering early pace and came in third behind winner Exaggerator and second-place finisher Cherry Wyan. Nyquist developed a fever the day after the Preakness and Doug O'Neill decided to postpone shipping Nyquist to Belmont Park. Nyquist was withdrawn from the Belmont Stakes on May 24 after developing a high leukocyte count. Post-Triple Crown. After being scratched from the Belmont, Nyquist remained at Pimlico to receive treatment, and his connections hoped at the time to start in the Travers Stakes in August. He next ran the Haskell Invitational at Monmouth Park, which ended up being exactly like the Preakness for him. Got in a speed duel on a sloppy track, stuck on the rail and Exaggerator took off to win. He took yet another rest and ran in the Pennsylvania Derby. Finally on a fast track for the first time since May, everyone thought this would be his race to win, but he faded to sixth. The plan from there was to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but the Thursday before, after sluggish workout, it was found Nyquist had puffy ankles and was withdrawn from the race. Shortly thereafter, he was retired to stand at Darley's Johnable Stud in Lexington, Kentucky, despite his owners having purchased a spot in the Pegasus World Cup. Stud career. Nyquist was advertised to stand his first year at Stud in 2017 for a fee of $40,000. On December 22, 2016, Nyquist underwent surgery at Havyard Equine Medical Institute in Lexington for colic. He recovered well. Pedigree. Nyquist is from the first crop of Uncle Emo, and is the first foal out of Seeking Gabrielle. Helped by Nyquist's earnings, Uncle Emo led the 2015 Freshman Sire list in America, setting an earnings record. Uncle Emo also sired several other stakes winners in the first crop, two of which joined Nyquist in the field for the 2016 Kentucky Derby. Uncle Emo and Broodmare sire, Forestry, both never won beyond 8.5 furlongs. This pattern of speed over speed, along with several statistical measures used to help classify a horse's pedigree, once again raised concerns about Nyquist's stamina. For example, Nyquist has a dosage profile DP of 12,100, which reflects that the two most prominent sires in his pedigree, Mr. Prospector and Stormcat, are considered speed influences. Kentucky Derby winner Pleasant Colony is the only classic influence in the first four generations of Nyquist's pedigree. The resultant dosage index DI is 7.00. On the other hand, Nyquist's female family has many stamina influences that appear farther back in the pedigree. For example, Ribaud, who twice won the Arc de Triomphe, appears twice in Seeking Gabriel's Pedigree. Like 2015 Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh, Nyquist is a fifth-generation descendant of Triple Crown winner Secretariat through Terlingua.